Hey guys, it's Lee at FX Model Miniatures again. Just doing another short little feature on a couple of models. Some of you may know us as not really as FX Model Miniatures. We've displayed at a few cons for Comic-Con here in Birmingham. We did a show, I think it was early last year maybe, in Manchester. Obviously there's no cons at the moment due to the situation in the world, but yeah, it's just nice to ramble on about some models that have been created during such lockdown times and where we've all got a lot of time on our hands, and these are a couple of them. And these are Return of the Jedi Welding Droids. These were actually built by ILM. They were storyboarded, so we can only assume they were going to be filmed or animated as droids working on the substructures of the DS2, etc. And obviously we didn't know they existed. The first I came to find out about them was Prop Store of London was selling the original two. They were actually auctioning them, and then way back during the our RPF days, excuse me, Guy Cowan and a few others, I think it was Mark Graham maybe, actually started to research them, and I really didn't pay them much attention. They weren't something I was really looking to build or replicate at the time. And then, yeah, it kind of just dawned on me, I really fancied a go at them just for something different to do. Many of you that know me do know I like to do things a little bit different, a little bit original, a little bit wacky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but these two are probably the most enjoyable builds and paint that I've ever done. I absolutely love doing them. They were so enjoyable. They look so funky and scruffy in a way in terms of the paintwork, but that's how it is. So yeah, these are the two here. Obviously, as a pair, you've got the one droid that we refer to as the Vader Droid, and the other droid, which is the Biker Scout droid. Now, the Vader Droid, if I just move this guy out of the way a moment, the Vader Droid is named so because it's actually the helmet dome of the NPC Darth Vader kit. You can see the dome and the aperture there for the face. And then on top of that is a Tamiya T62 turret. There's many other parts on this build. They're quite interesting because they're quite pricey, tiny little models to make, but just satisfying. Now, this model was actually originally replicated by Guy Cowan way back, as I said, on the RPF. He did a research thread, and Guy did a fantastic job of this. I actually saw it in the flesh at a con we did at the Birmingham NEC, and I was just blown away by it because it was just so cute and so different, and I love the colour. It was just such an interesting colour. Now, this was back when Guy was mixing Tamiya paints. His original Vader Droid is actually painted in a custom mix in Tamiya acrylic. Now, this is actually painted in Archivex enamels, but I'll get to that. But as I said, these were never filmed for the movie. The storyboard did exist for them, and it was a shame they were never filmed. I'd love to find out who actually made them at ILM. One of the most interesting aspects was some of the parts they used. They had this real cool throwback to previous model kits still related to Star Wars, such as, you know, the Darth Vader helmet. This model, I mean, there is all sorts on it. I mean, you've got a Tamiya McLaren M23, I think it was, seat. We've got Tamiya Vosper parts. There's a 112 RZ250 Tamiya 112 bike there, the front forks. You can see there's the, if I move in a bit, there's the brake caliper. And you've got various other parts from the 112 Tamiya Renault. Some Plastruct, the green lampshades, those are used. And then come around to here, you got some more Renault parts and reflective tape for some reason. Why this was applied, I don't know. But, you know, maybe it had some purpose where they wanted it to reflect light, studio lighting. Not really sure. Not sure. But it just made them all the more, you know, just interesting. One really funny one on this is this ball structure inside here. Now, I believe Guy used the inner, basically the skull of Darth Vader in there from the NPC kit. I actually used a ping pong ball. It just seemed to, it did actually fit really well. I was a bit dubious at first, but it fits superbly, secures nicely in there. And this one was a pretty simple build. In no time it was in primer and ready for paint. And then paint, coming back to Guy and his build, Guy actually custom mixed his own hue. He was lucky enough to talk to the person apparently that actually won the auction on the original ILM prop, and they supplied him with some photos so he could better colour match the paint, which he did a fantastic job. But coming forward into, you know, times now where Guy has successfully made a wonderful product in ArchiveX paint, the colour is actually ArchiveX, or, you know, would have been Flowquill Light Earth. And the earth tone is actually used on the speeder bike. It's actually the correct hue for the speeder bike filming miniature. This paint does weird things in saturated light, this actual hue. Prop Store's original reference photos, which were absolutely beautiful, we couldn't have asked for better reference of these guys. In the reference, when this is saturated, it becomes very orangey yellow, which in my original photographs I did of this, I purposely oversaturated just to see if I could achieve that hue, and it does. It's really, you know, it's fantastic. So once I adorned the entire model in ArchiveX Light Earth, you then start to think about all this kind of detail all around the guns or arms, whatever they are, welders. Now that is all actually latex work, lots and lots of latex work all around here, all this all around here. This is all just latex work, copied as close as possible to the original model. And here, now all this is actually Liquitex Ink, all of this. Basically latexed all that off with the end of a brush to create these weird patterns, and then shot Liquitex ink into that. Okay, so that was kind of achieved because me and Guy, we did spend some time researching the paint on these, and they are literally, you know, Guy said it best, they are chaos. They're scruffy, rushed chaos, which is actually probably one of the hardest things to ever replicate, sheer one time only chaos. But, you know, playing around, we managed to get a decent effect. The next step was these models are actually covered, if you can see here, if I get really close, see all the little droplet beads and runs in the paint? That again is Liquitex ink. Now the reason for the ink, and I was actually at Guy's when we tested this, we started shooting it with an airbrush. He topically applied it and dabbed it, but I found the right way to do that was literally to daub the entire model, really slap it on there, a watered down black Liquitex ink, really watery, and then keep running the brush over with applied water, and eventually you get these little beads which are repelling against the enamel paint. Once they, once you've got an effect that starts working, I'd literally set that with a hairdryer then, just to set it in place. Otherwise, it wouldn't really set very well. It wouldn't tack. It needed just a gentle blast of warm air just to set them in place, and then the effect is achieved. And that was really fun. That was awesome to do. I really enjoyed doing that. And it kind of that happened by accident. I was pulling my hair out trying to create the effect, and obviously you can't get the effect to every micron of the prop, but that is the effect we achieved. So I was really happy with that. But yeah, that is the Vader Droid. It has been built before. And it's such an awesome little thing. I absolutely love this. I mean, you can actually see there are little shiny spots here, just daubed around the model. Now those are actually on the miniature, and they're just little glossy patches. So again, not sure why they're there, what they were thinking when they did it, but yeah, really strange. But that's just a gloss varnish that I just daubed with a paintbrush just to get that effect. I mean, you can see some of the latexing work on the arms there, and it really is chaos. It's a lot of airbrushing and then topically applied chaos. Really fun to do though. So that covers that guy. And then we're on to the one that eluded us for a really long time. This is what we call the Biker Scout droid. Now, this model was untouchable because the original is actually made from pretty much half the head of a Biker Scout puppet, the stop motion Biker Scout puppet. Now, you cannot go and buy one of those. They belong strictly to ILM and you've got no chance. So this one was a whole lot trickier. Somebody a while back actually created a 3D pattern of this helmet, and there was an inkling that we could get hold of one. It never happened, and I really wanted to build these, so I thought, well, okay, I'm going to scratch build my own Biker Scout helmet. Now, I wasn't scratch building the whole helmet with the mouthpiece, etc. I was only scratch building where ILM have cut the Biker Scout in half, right down to just the base of his nose here. So I scratch built the helmet. That was using all sorts of weird little techniques. I mean, this was a plastruck dome, the top crown that I elongated. The visor was just heat formed styrene. The faceplate is a mixture of ABS, some resin. To form the goggles, that's just I think it was 1mm rod that I actually bonded in there, and then did a brush stroke of resin around it just to blend it in, and it worked quite nicely. And then the ears, now this is the faceplate area on the 3D print that was around was hopelessly wrong, so I was happy to correct that and make a better version of my own. And coming around to the ears, same thing, the 3D print, the ear section was way too short, it was quite a way off. So this section here was I racked my brains on how to do this, but I ended up pouring resin into a half channel of ABS to form this half round that was then easy to manipulate into a C shape around the helmet by heat, and that was then bonded to the inner helmet, which is actually ABS, and then these little details were then added. I carved those in with a motor tool. And that was the helmet. You know, that took a while to do. And I actually did build Guy one of these. I made Guy a helmet specifically because I know he really wanted this droid to go with his Vader one. Because you've got to have the pair, right? You know, you can't just build one. You need the pair of these. They just go so well together. So that was the helmet done. Now you've got everything else that's going on with this model. And it's quite a fair way more complicated than the Vader one. You've got a Walker Bulldog turret here. Just basically the tank turret and its base bonded together, and then they're just bonded to the actual Scout helmet. You've got some Renault pieces here, Renault RE20, some Italeri Priest. The M7 Priest makes an appearance here, you know, in a couple of places actually. So that's the underside. Then you've got some Tamiya Vosper, some more Renault here, and then you're onto the arms. Now the arms are really interesting as you've got the usual suspects such as Tamiya Japard, Ligier JS11 rims there. But these parts are actually from the AMT Slave 1 or Airfix or MPC, wherever you are in the world. But those are from the Slave 1. I mean, these parts were actually used before on the ROTJ Donayan gunship. There's quite a few Slave 1 parts on that particular model, but they make an appearance here. Then you've got some Ferrari 312, some more Renault, and Italeri Priest here. That's your arms done. And then moving around to the back is one of the interesting ones. I really enjoyed doing this. You've got some more Vosper and the Tamiya Japard at the base here. And then these, the little boosters, they're actually marker pen caps, vintage marker pen caps. I forget what brand. I actually cast these. Guy was nice enough to loan me a pattern, which I then just resin cast myself, and they came out really great. I love this feature. I absolutely love these parts. I think they're so cool. For a found parts normally can look a bit hoopty and strange, but I adore these. I think they really give it a meaty look. And it's also mounted on its side. Now, strangely enough, I don't know why it is actually mounted this way. I mean, I presume is supposed to kind of seat like this, but ILM had actually side mounted this one for some reason. Not sure why. I don't know why the other one is actually mounted upright. Maybe there was another mount point planned somewhere, but they couldn't. I mean, when you join this Walker Bulldog together, it's hollow, so maybe it was just easy to drill into what would have been a solid resin Biker Scout helmet and just put a mount point in. But it gives it a very weird stance, and it makes it accurate to how it's actually displayed. Now the paintwork on this one is another really interesting one. It was quite an eye-opener. You can see there's quite a lot of red on this model, quite a lot, and there's also red in the nose area. Now that red is not topically applied. It's actually it's under what is the light earth base coat. So initially we feel these were planned to be that very oxide or DH caboose red used on a lot of the DS2 structures. So naturally, wanting to replicate this as close as possible, this was initially primed, then painted DH caboose red. Then a lot of latex later base coated in again Archive X Light Earth. Paint job on this one was actually, although it's a lot more slap and dash, it was actually a lot harder than the Vader Droid. It's there's a lot going on with this paintwork, and when I say a lot going on, a lot of chaos and maybe do-overs and splodges over splodges. It's really crazy. It really is. I mean, even down to this weird hand-daubed shape here, this weird D shape, that is just literally splodged on with a brush on the ILM model. So I replicated that as close as I could just by splodging it. Same with these pipes here, these vacuum cleaner looking things. Paintwork, you can see a lot of the brush strokes of the Liquitex ink and latex work. Again, replicating the chaos and almost crudeness of the original ILM models. But, you know, we try to get these things as close as we possibly can, so why not? Paintwork on the engines, again, real mishmash of colours. They're initially, I think I initially painted these dark grey, and then light reefer grey, just daubed over with a paintbrush. They're you know, really daub it over as rough as you, literally as rough as you can. That is what you're trying to replicate. And then some, you know, more light earth, some foundation tones, a lot of latex work on the dome. As you can see, the red coming through there again, topically applied reefer grey. A lot going on, a real lot going on. And then also the reflective tape makes an appearance yet again on the nose and also on the back of the helmet, which again, really not sure, you know, not sure why it's there. Maybe it was something to reflect light, but we'll never know, as they were, well, apparently never filmed. That's another little one that snuck up. I didn't realise it was there, but little suspension arms from the Tyrrell P34. So that about covers the welding droids. A couple of really fun models, really enjoyable to build, really fun to look at displayed because they're just so different, not something you see every day. And the paint brings out the artist in you. You're willing to really try some cruder, yet very different methods on applying paint to something. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. As I said, it's not about me, it's not scripted. It's just about the models. It's just you know, a platform to talk about some very different models and just kind of geek out and have fun. So thanks for watching, guys, and see you soon.